I want to welcome to the show, though, the leader in Caribbean football, both on the field and in the administrative room as well. Jamaica Football Federation President Michael Ricketts joins us via phone this morning. Mr. Ricketts, good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Very pleasant good morning to you. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and I hope that you are safe as well. You're out of central Jamaica, and I hope things are, the curve is flattening there, I hope.
Well, I am doing okay, and the football family here, we are doing well.
I'm very happy to hear that. Mr. Ricketts?
We want to continue staying safe, and of course, to work with the guidelines provided us by our authorities, the Prime Minister's office, and the Ministry of Health, but we are doing okay.
That's very, I'm delighted to hear that, Mr. Ricketts. Mr. Ricketts, what do you make of this change by CONCACAF? And I must tell you, Mr. Ricketts, I just want to add in that the Caribbean Football Union and some Caribbean Football Union heads around the region are not aware of this, although it's been in the press for 48 hours. What do you make of this change to the World Cup qualification process?
Well, I have not been made aware of the details. But what I do know, having had discussions with President Montagliani, is that a task force would be set up to look at the process of getting to the World Cup, the whole format, and of course, having been pressed for time now, a new format would be in place, which from my own interpretation would mean that the same teams would be in the hexagonal round, but how these 6 teams would play and how many times they would play, that's where the changes could very well be. So I still think that the 6 teams that are presently in the hex will remain the same 6, but the format, how these 6, because normally these 6 teams would play each other twice on a home and away basis.
Correct. Yeah.
So, for example, Jamaica would have 5 home games and 5 away games, which certainly would spread over maybe a 6, 7, or 8 months period. Now I think that the proposal would be that there would be a different format. I have no idea what this new format will be, but from my own perspective, it will be the same teams in the hex, but getting to Qatar in 2022, the format will be a little different.
What does Caribbean football make of this, Mr. Ricketts? Because Caribbean leaders in football came under increased scrutiny when the World Cup qualification process changed, and Jamaica said virtually nothing, Trinidad and Tobago said nothing, Barbados said nothing, and those are the 3 leaders in Caribbean football.
Well, the truth is that we actually sat in a discussion and accepted the proposal, but some of us seem to have forgotten what the details were. So this is something that we actually would have had discussions on and would have actually agreed on. But like I said, we just had some issues when the reality actually hit us. But as it is
but how can the leaders of Caribbean football agree to something that is perhaps so detrimental to Caribbean football?
Pardon?
How can the leaders of Caribbean football agree to something that is so detrimental to our chances here in the region of qualifying for a World Cup?
Well, I don't know how detrimental it would be, because it's part of the whole process. The Nations League, of course, would have led to the World Cup qualifiers, and from being in the top 6, then you make it to the hex stage. Some persons later on became probably dissatisfied, but this is something that we actually have agreed on. And from a Jamaican perspective, we would have been consistent and would have done well over the years to have been ranked consistently 4th office.
Mr. Ricketts, you know, look, with all due respect, I see your role as Jamaica Football Federation president as much bigger than just president of Jamaica Football, because when you speak, your words echo across the Caribbean. Jamaica is that big in our region when it comes to football. And my point is that, you know, looking out for these small islands around the region, for them to have a chance, a decent chance at qualifying for the World Cup. You know, Barbados, Trinidad, Jamaica, the Caribbean Football Union as a whole has to stand up for these smaller islands, not just Jamaica and Trinidad and Barbados.
Well, actually, we have a president that has the interest of the region at heart. And there ought to have been roundabout now fresh elections to put a new executive in place. I'm pretty certain that all of us really would want the best for the region. And we make up a substantial chunk of what CONCACAF is. We have 31 of, I think, 41 countries. So we do have a say. So we really need to sit now and work closely together in the interest of building Caribbean football. And of course, Randy Harris is the kind of leader that certainly would want to ensure that when he would have demitted office, he certainly would have left a legacy, that he really would have championed the cause of having Caribbean football in the forefront of international football. We are working together and working closely, and certainly the end result will be one that will influence Caribbean and its football program.
What type of process would you like to see for this World Cup qualifiers?
Say that again.
What type of process would you like to see for the World Cup qualifiers for us here in the Caribbean, and by extension, CONCACAF?
Well, I really would have loved to have had that original format where Jamaica, for example, would have 5 home games. Of course, we would build a vibe around the country. We'd go back to the 98 days. We would have had our stadium buzzing with excitement because we're heading to the World Cup. I really would have loved to have had 5 home games, the Mexicos, the Costa Ricas, the U.S. playing in Jamaica. And then, of course, that would be reversed and you visit these countries. I would be very, very supportive of that kind of a format. Now, I have no idea what the new proposal will be, so I'm just prepared to wait and see. But we continue to make progress in our own country. And being the leaders around the Caribbean, we want to ensure that we help to motivate our Caribbean neighbors and to ensure that when Jamaica make a positive step, our neighbors also make positive
Mr. Ricketts, can I...
So indeed, we're waiting to see, and we're prepared to work with whatever leaders say, and indeed, we want to ensure that it's good for the region.
Can I just quickly ask you your thoughts on the developments in Trinidad and Tobago football with regards to the FIFA Normalization Committee coming in?
I don't want to comment too much, but I just want to say that I wish all the best for Trinidad and its football programs, and I do hope that there will be a positive resolution and that normality will return in short order. I have all the confidence in the stakeholders that will happen soon.
Do you support the FIFA's move?
Pardon?
Do you support the FIFA's move?
I want the best for the region. I just simply want the best, and whatever will resolve the issues in Trinidad, that's what I'm supporting.
Have you had any conversations with former President William Wallace since?
No, but we spoke before. We met at a meeting, I think it might have been in the U.S., and we had an extensive discussion. Since all this turmoil, we have not spoken.
All right, Mr. Michael Ricketts, President of the Jamaica Football Federation, please stay safe in Jamaica. I really appreciate you taking our call this morning.
Thanks for having me, sir, and let me use this opportunity to again wish all my Caribbean neighbors all that's good. I hope that they will continue to be safe, and at the end of this pandemic, that it will be all systems go and there will be some normality in very short order.
Mr. Michael Ricketts, I really appreciate those inspiring words that you leave us with as well. The Jamaica Football Federation President Michael Ricketts talking to us as CONCACAF President Victor Montagliani confirming this week that the World Cup qualification process, the new controversial one, will have to be shelved because of the pandemic.